Oriental or Eastern ethics. In general, a student in moral philosophy should not be misled into thinking that if there are many ethical theories, then there are also many moral laws. A. Ethical teachings in Hinduism. Hinduism is the primordial religion in India and probably the oldest religion in the world, has no official founder. There is less to write on ethics in Hinduism, for it contains no specific moral dogmas and doctrine. The Spaniards as commentaries of Vedas are divided into three, namely Aranyakas, Forest Book, Samhita's sacred text, Brahmans, summaries, and commentaries. Knowledge, therefore, in Hinduism is a virtue. It is a virtue to know that Maya is not real, but only a marriage. The way leading to man's transcendence of Maya is the knowledge of himself that he is Atman. Man is Atman. This means that man should realize his authentic or true self in order for him to say he is Atman. The knowledge of the self is a requisite towards the true self, union with Brahman. In Hinduism, it is wisdom for a man to be one in Brahman. It must be noted that the Hindus because that a righteous life is necessary towards the Atman union with the Brahman. Righteousness means knowing oneself, identifying self not with the surface self in the happenings of the rat race, but with the ultimate reality. In Hinduism, the moral life is geared towards the realization of one's inner identity with the drive absolute. Hindu ethics also teaches that man should work as a gesture of service to God. And B. Ethical teachings in Buddhism. Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama and the Buddha. Records show that Buddhism is the second oldest religion in India. This is plausible because Buddha was originally a Hindu. Buddhism referred to as a religion of liberation. Ethics in Buddhism is an ethics born out of the relatives of the pangs of human life. It is an ethics which is intended to relieve all forms of human suffering, suffering from old age, disease, death, and the like. For Gautama, the Buddha, the therapy to human suffering must be a spiritual recourse. Buddhism, both as philosophy and religion, can be holistically seen in the jewels, or better known as the three jewels in Buddhism. According to Buddha, every individual man has three characteristics: suffering, impersonality, or unstability, impermanence. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. 1. Life is permitted by suffering. 2. The origin of suffering is craving. 3. Suffering can be eliminated through the elimination of craving. 4. The elimination of suffering is possible through the Eightfold Path. And the Eightfold Path is the continuum of the Four Noble Truths. These are the following. Number 1, right understanding. Number 2, right truth. Number 3, right speech. Number 4, right action. 5, right livelihood. 6, right effort. 7, right mindfulness. 8, right concentration. According to Buddha, the middle way is revealed in this doctrine of the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is nothing else but the annihilation of suffering. Let us elaborate the Eightfold Path. Right 1. Right standing. Right standing means that to start journeying into the Eightfold Path, man must see life as it is. That life is impermanent, subject to suffering and no soul. 2, which is right understanding, means that mind must be free from impurities like ill will, cruelty, lust, etc. Because of this, right truth should be just posed with right understanding, right effort, and right mindfulness. And 3, right speech. Right speech means that man should be vigilant with his words. Right speech would lead one to refrain from harsh talk, idle talk, or gossip, backbiting, lying, etc. 4, right action. Right action means the avoidance of killing, stealing, indulgence in sexual misconduct, false speech, an intoxication in drugs and alcoholic drinks. 5. Right livelihood means the observance of a right occupation. 6. Right effort is intended for self-perfection. Self-perfection is possible when one strives to elude any incoming evil, dispels an existing evil, brings about good which is yet to come, and nourishes the existing good. 7. Right mindfulness. Right mindfulness means the observance of the four fundamental elements of mindfulness. These elements are 1. Steadfast awareness of his body, feelings, mind, and ideas. And last, the right concentration. Right concentration is referred to the mind single objectively. The implication of this is that in Buddhism it is not only important but necessary that the mind should not be concentrated into diversity. Ethical teaching in Confucianism. Indian ethics, Hinduism, Buddhism emphasizes individual moral life. Chinese ethics and emphasis individual moral in relation to others. Chinese philosophy means humanism. This means that the Chinese put much weight in their relatedness with their fellow human beings. Qi means wisdom. It includes the photographs of mouth and hands. Ren means human-heartedness. This is the reason why Confucius says that human-heartedness means loving others. Ye means righteousness. As righteousness, it refers to the oughtness or to rightness of an action in a given situation. Zhong means conscientiousness. Zhong, however, is a just post with Shu. Li, which means propriety. Propriety in Confucianism is considered as the rule of conduct that reflects a person's God's will. It therefore means doing things the right way. Xiao means filial piety. This means respect, reverence, and honor or one's parents, blood, relatives, or the family members. Through Xiao, it is shown that Confucius gives much importance to the family. If the family is the training ground for the development of Xiao. Ethical teaching in Taoism. Lao Tzu is recognized as the founder of Taoism. Taoism is derived from the word Tao. Tao is a word of many meanings. Lao Tzu maintains means three things. First, Tao is the way of the ultimate reality. Second, Tao is the way of the universe. Third, Tao is the way of human existence. Lao Tzu loved to say, he who knows does not talk, he who talks does not know. Chinese philosophy, reality is constituted of two opposing principles, yin and yang. Yin signifies softness, darkness, passivity, femininity, and etc. Yang signifies hardness, brightness, activity, and masculinity. Thus, Lao Tzu says, Tao produced the one produced the two produced the three. Tao refers to man's harmony with nature. To Lao Tzu, the path to this harmony lies in man's practice of the Wu-Wei, which means passivity of so having no activity. Overdoing, therefore, means a distraction, not a construction. It is an overkill of an act. Ethical teaching in Jain Buddhism. Jain Buddhism is a way of life. Jain Buddhism teaches that man can only live life authentically if man sees things as they are. Jain Buddhism by nature is intuitive. Some examples of one. 1. What is the sound of one hand clapping? 2. What was your original face before you were born? 3. Have you seen a smile without a face? 4. My steak has only one end. Juchan means seated meditation. The purpose of Juchan is to let the person accurate the layers of the senses, feelings, and truth contents so that he can arrive at the core of his being. Jain Buddhism, reality is seen as it is, then the meaning of life is to be found right there in the act of living it. The meaning of life lies right there in the simple everyday things that we do. It's this perspective that man should really distinguish his greed, lust, and craving in order for him to understand life as it is. Lastly, in Zen Buddhism, the man who has understood the real meaning of life and its enlightened one.
Chapter 1 Values A. Place and significance of values in ethics. Undeniably, there is a metaphysical dependence of values in ethics, for values have ethics as one of their indispensable careers. True enough, ethics and values support each other. An ethics without values is hollow and shallow, and therefore weak. Values without ethics are paralytic. B. The meaning of values. 1. Anthology. The branch of philosophy that studies value called anthology. 2. Definition of values. A. General definition. The following are the various views concerning the meaning of values. 1. Values are the object of human desire and striving. They are also the subjective assessment of a particular object insofar as it is good. 2. Values are our beliefs, those beliefs which we hold to be true. Those values inspire us to struggle towards our proximate and ultimate last ends. Because values are our beliefs, values affect our thoughts, decision, and action. 3. Values refers to things, person, ideas, or goals which are important to life. They enable us to direct, understand, and evaluate our lives. C. Max Schiller's definition. Max Schiller defines values as valuable essence or properties. They are objective and they transcend from the sentimental perception that makes them appealing. They are bipolar. D. Harman, Ratz, and Simon definition. Perhaps the most comprehensive understanding of values is that of Meyer Harman, Louis Ratz, and Sidney Simmons. According to these thinkers, values involve seven categories or elements. 1. Values are chosen freely. Before they are chosen freely, they must have been known first. 2. Values are chosen from alternatives. 3. Values are chosen reflectively. 4. Values are those which we prize. 5. Values are publicly affirmed by their beholders. 6. Values are acted upon, and 7. Values are continually cherished, they are done repeatedly. A. Properties of values. Values generally have five characteristics or properties, namely subjective, objective, relative, bipolar, and hierarchical. 1. Values are subjective. When we say values are subjective, we mean that we mean that the existence and the validity of values are dependent on the feelings or attitude of the subject.
Number two, properties of values. Values are objective. There have been polemics since the time of Alexis Minon, Max Keller, and Nikolai Hartmann as to whether values are subjective or objective. When we say values are objective, we mean that the existence and the nature of values are independent of a subject. Number three, properties of values is values are relative. This means that values have intrinsic limitation and imperfection. In themselves, values are not limited and are not imperfect. However, in the light of a subject who values become limited and imperfect. Number four, properties of values. Values are bipolar. By this mean that values do not exist alone. They always exist with counter values. Thus, values are either positive or negative. For example, in a battery, there are signs that indicate the positive and negative terminals. Number five of properties of values is values are hierarchical. Hierarchical does not mean classification, since the latter means division while the former means ranking. When we say values are hierarchical, we do not classify values, but rather we rank them. The bone of contention of the hierarchy of values is that no two values are similar in degree or level.